Ooh. Take 500.
I would like to introduce us as a team, as an organization. We're SYNECHO. Lungi, Kolia, and myself, Panashe, really felt within our hearts to delve into the issues of racism and to really seek reconciliation and mediation for a world that is de-racialized, a world where we love each other and all have equity. With that, I'm going to pass over to Kolia, who is just going to define a little bit more about who we are and what we stand for. Kolia, it's all on you.
Thanks, Panashe. Firstly, I want to say I'm very excited to be a part of this team with these two beautiful people that I do call my friends. I think where I can start with who we are and what we're about is just what does the word SYNECHO mean? So the word, we found it when we were studying the Bible on what does God say about racial reconciliation. And we found it in 2 Corinthians 5 verse 14 to 18, where Paul speaks about the fact that we have the ministry of reconciliation. And he starts this section by saying, it is the love of Christ that compels us. And that word compelled is SYNECHO. Compelled is the translation of SYNECHO. And the word SYNECHO means to be pressed together. It is pressure to not control, but to bring about action. And this pressure is motivational, not directional. And the source of this pressure is the love of Jesus. That is why we're here. We feel pressed together, pressured by the love of Jesus to see racial reconciliation. And we hope that through these videos and these conversations that we're going to start, that you too will feel compelled, pressed by the love of Jesus to see racial reconciliation, to check your own heart, that action that we are looking for is not action for protest or anything like that. It's for us to seek our own hearts and to look at our hearts where we have mentalities or thought patterns or even habits that fuel this racial tension instead of bringing about reconciliation. So that's what SYNECHO is. We're a family that wants to start conversations with people from different backgrounds, different races, different generations, to understand their story, to listen to their story, not to answer from our story, but to hear their hearts and then to look at the Word of God and to shine light and truth onto these struggles that real people are facing in our world today. And with that being said, I want to read to us Colossians 1 verse 19 to 20. It says, "For in him all the fullness of God was pleased to dwell, and through him to reconcile to himself all things, whether on earth or in heaven, making peace by the blood of the cross." And because of this, we truly believe that racial reconciliation is possible because Jesus came to reconcile everything, including race. So yes, we want to share just a little bit of our personal testimony of why we feel called or compelled by the love of Jesus to be a part of a movement that starts conversations.
Growing up in South Africa as a young Black woman, I never could say I experienced racism directly or indirectly. I almost didn't even know the concept existed until I started to grow up and understand what does it actually mean. And I realized that a lot of this was because everything that I experienced or knew as a Black person was just ingrained in me. It was normal. It was life. The conversations I had with my family members about white people, how we were treated by white people, how Black people in general are treated, were just the norm. There was nothing peculiar, nor did I even identify that as hurt or just sadness, heartbreak because of what Black people have experienced in this country. And I think what I've come to realize now as a follower of Jesus is that I am a Black young woman, but first and foremost, I am a child of God. And that means that I am a follower of Jesus and I stand to his word, and his word has compelled me and shown me that he is a God for everyone. And it's for these reasons that I am so convicted and so excited to be a part of this movement, because I believe that, like any other sin, the sin of racism is not accepted in the Word, and it's not accepted by God. He is actually more grieved than I am by the racism and the oppression that is faced by many people in our world and even in our country. And just like I shared, I don't have to look far to see it. I can look within my own family. And I think that's what SYNECHO is so important to me right now, is because I believe it's the catalyst to change, to bring about the issues of racism into the light, and to allow Jesus to come into it and to bring truth, transformation, and lasting reconciliation. And yeah, that's why I'm excited to be a part of this movement. Well, guys, testimonies always encourage me, and I'm so actually excited to be a part of this movement and to be here with you guys. And I think a beautiful place to start off is by defining what racism is. And I found a really good definition that I want to share with you guys and just pick our minds as we discuss this. So, defining racism, I want to start off just by sharing that it's not a straightforward thing, because it's a very highly contested, I think, word and a definition. But I'm just going to share, generally speaking, racism is the belief that humanity is divided into different racial groups with distinct physical features, behavioral traits, and social norms that make certain racial groups morally superior to others. And so these differences between races is believed to be somewhat inherent, and as opposed to being kind of random or by choice or even by personal whims. And then this belief and this understanding leads to social practices, political systems that seek to keep these inferior groups oppressed under the power and will of the superior racial groups of people. And so the reason why I chose this definition was because it really doesn't just speak to define it, but it speaks to how it affects every single human being, how it affects the groups themselves. So the definition of racism is not that it's just an act, it also has lasting effects. So I don't know, what kind of thoughts come to you guys' minds when you think of the term racism?
Quite interesting. Nobody's ever asked you. We always speak about it, but nobody's ever said, what do you think racism is?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just what you said there that speaks about the classification of it, but also what that leads to. And I know it's always highly contested to say that, oh, black people can't be racist, or this race is ultimately the racist creator of the race of racism itself. And I think by being able to break that down in these videos, we'll be able to highlight and show how it is possible to find racism on all ends. But I think the matter at play now is what that racism does. And I think as it stands right now, on a wide point of view, the system itself, being racist kind of has its implications. And I think as much as it's possible on all ends, I think it's good to be able to highlight that so that we can ultimately deal and kind of break down those effects that the racism itself leads to.
Yeah. That's so good.
Yeah, I think I must agree. I like what you said, Panashe, that it's not a white on black thing, it can be a black on white thing too. The definition doesn't name a specific race that it's shown to. But what I also like is how the definition shows that it's so into our society and into our way of thinking that it actually affects the way we act, it affects the way we think, it affects the way we choose our friends even without us knowing, you know. So I think it's exactly what you said. It's not something easy to define, and I've never straightforward been asked what it is. But by hearing that and listening to you speak and just hearing what the word says, I think there's so much around this topic, and I'm so excited that we're every week going to look at a different angle towards it and how we can be a part of the solution. So
that's so good, guys. And I think what's really interesting about what you guys pointed out is that a lot of us haven't been directly posed with this question of what is racism, but it's very important to start off with this foundation so that we can know where we're going on from now on. And I think every week as we delve deeper, we're going to unpack even how other people define racism. What do they see as racism? Because I think a lot of it is also that we may have one-sided opinions or one-sided view or one-sided thought of what racism is. So I'm so excited to kind of see how God leads us and directs us as we delve deeper into this racial tension in these topics. It's really interesting.
It's really really good, and I hope that you out there watching are also inspired and really ready to delve this topic so that we can ultimately be able to bring about reconciliation and equity, as I said at the beginning. And with that, we are ending our first video. Thank you for watching. We really do encourage you to follow our social media links that we are attaching on the screen right now. And we really do hope to see you guys soon.
Exactly.
That's highly suspicious. That is highly suspicious.
I think if we were to have an argument, we would like match each other. You know, like no.
Problems. Being, and his desire is it too long? Can I start again?
It's better to finish and then ask.
Sorry. Can I start again? Let me just try and let me see what I'm gonna say.
You got it?
Genuine, like I don't know what happens in front of people. It's like cool. Put a camera there. I'm like, okay.
This is the fourth person.
It's
Let's
a
look at it
person.
like that.
We must
You-
name
that's
it
all-
Cameron. This is Cameron.
Okay, Cameron.
Talk to Cameron.
That was
Okay.
really good.
I know.
That was really
It was really good.